girl JQ.
It's Dolly con Pique.
¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó?
Yeah. What was my jingle last time? Welcome back to another episode of our... Was that it? I don't even know.
Welcome back.
Happy Halloween, by the way, before I forget.
Happy Halloween!
So today's episode is going to be on mental illness. We know that the mental illness week was between the 6th and 12th. Was from the 6th to 12th. And we missed talking about it on our previous episodes, but we thought it was an important topic to discuss. Mm-hmm. So we made sure to end our month with a good little episode on mental illness.
Yeah. Talk about it. Talk about the importance of it. Before we do that, though, I want to go into our sticky situations.
Dolly has something to get off her chest.
I do, and it has nothing to do with mental illness. It might have, drove me a little crazy because I've been holding it in for a while now, but I need to get off my chest. Okay, so I think this was actually, exactly a week ago. Yeah, I left the gym, and I went to Walmart, and when I'm walking in, they have a little table set up, and there's kids out there. You already know they're gonna try to sell you some shit.
Right.
And I was like, oh God. And I've been on this thing that I'm like, be a better person, do a good deed, smile back at people. I've been on this whole journey of trying to be good and grow and all that shit. So I see them and I'm like, God dang it, I'm gonna have to buy whatever it is that they're selling. And so, I walk up. And it's the little kids. It's the Boy Scouts. Okay. It's the Boy Scouts with their moms and their dads.
Do they have cookies?
No. The Boy Scouts, I'm going to let y'all know right now, the Boy Scouts are way worse than the Girl Scouts. I'm sorry for whoever has a boy in the Boy Scouts, but y'all can't top the cookies. You can't top the Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
What were they going to come with? You want to know what these Boy Scouts came with? Bags of fucking popcorn.
Oh, my God.
Bags of popcorn, right? So the little boy comes up to me. Excuse me, ma'am. Would you be interested in buying a bag of popcorn, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and then I was going to do it until I realized I had no cash on me. That was literally the truth. So I was like, oh my God, no, I don't have any cash on me right now, but I will get cash out when I go in there, and I'll come back out and buy the popcorn. And that was legit what was gonna happen. I was in my soul already that I was gonna do this.
I'm waiting for the butt.
So I go in. Then, side note, I look at the prices to see what bag of popcorn I'm gonna buy. These little dudes want $20 fucking dollars, Jackie, for a bag of popcorn.
What?
Girl Scout cookies are not that expensive.
And they're $5 a box.
10 times better than the fucking bag of what?
Oh my God.
What? So then I'm going into the store damn, now on top of everything else I'm going to buy, here's another $20 because I told these kids I was going to buy their popcorn. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm really about to spend $20 on this bag of popcorn.
You're just stressing it.
Stressing it. Driving around with my little cart. And then I go back by the chip aisle and I see all the bags of popcorn there. And they're $3, $4.
I might as well just buy this.
And I'm like, I could easily just get this bag of popcorn and save so much money. Didn't do it. Did all that. Went through the line. And I swear to God, completely forgot to take out the money for the bag of popcorn.
She's lying.
No, I really did.
Oh my God.
I really did. I felt horrible, and it wasn't until I walked out and I see the little table with the kids.
Oh,
and
shit.
I'm like, damn it.
I should have walked out the other side.
And then, I know, but there was another kid. It was kids on that.
Oh my God, of
they
course.
They were at each ends.
In the parking lot,
yeah.
too.
They were coming strong.
Posted.
Strong. So then, the little boy gives me the look, are you gonna buy
Please.
You gonna buy the bag of popcorn?
You promise.
And I was like, I'm so sorry, I forgot to get the money out, but I have money in my car. I will be right back.
You're that person we work with.
No, I legit had money in my car, right?
She forgot and she drove off.
No, this is what happened. I got to my car and I thought about all the money I just finished spending in the Walmart, which is like $50. And I legit sat in my car and I'm like, should I go back and buy this expensive ass bag of popcorn? I kid you not, I'm sitting in my car, moving my stick on drive to then back in park because I felt bad, moving it on drive. This fight in my mind about like, go back, get the popcorn. Nah, bitch, that's too expensive. Drive away.
Drive off, bitch.
And it was literally going from P to D. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know what to do. And my ass left. I left. I felt horrible.
Girl, that's an expensive bag of popcorn.
Oh,
I'm sure they had plenty of fucking popcorn all on that table because I would not buy that shit for $20. I'll be like, I'll donate $2.
Right.
But,
can I just give you a $5 donation and we can call it even?
Because I don't
want the popcorn.
Please, I don't.
I should have said that. I felt horrible. I was like,
Dito, you had good intentions till you got in the car. That was it. That was it. That was the straw.
Once I'm like settled in, I was sitting there and I'm like, it ain't worth it. I don't even like popcorn like that.
That's so funny.
All right, but yeah, I'm glad that's off my chest. Back to mental health. I might have caused that little kid some mental health issues now because I broke his trust. I feel horrible.
Abandonment.
I know.
She left us.
Trust issues.
Girl, you're good. God. I'm sure there were a whole bunch of people there like, I'm not buying that expensive bag of popcorn in their face.
In my defense, they were on Walmart on Bloomingdale, and those are like, you have a lot of ritzy people that live on that, by over there, by the Crunch, by the gym.
I know what you're talking about.
So, hopefully a lot of those Richie
hopefully they did buy them, and, they made some money.
Because I left.
Dolly's ass didn't give them nothing.
I dipped. I was like, I gotta go. Here's to being a nice person. Now I just made it even worse. I could have easily just said no thank you and left.
Right. No, I'm okay, sweetie.
Good luck.
How much is the what? That's me. That's me.
$20. The fuck?
I was gonna buy it.
No, babe. No, sweetie. I can't buy no popcorn.
Would you like a Snickers?
Do you want me to get you anything from in there?
Right. Feeling super bad. Oh my God.
Okay, so back to
our topic of today. Mental illness. A serious thing that has not been talked about a lot. I mean, nowadays it's talked about more than it was back in the day.
Yeah, it's on a come up for sure.
Yeah. It's becoming normalized.
Yeah.
In a way, even though, it's not a normal thing. Not everyday people have it. I mean, not every person has it. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Everyday people. Not everyone has it. But people do. So we have to take in consideration, the fact that people struggle with it on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And how to figure out how to help people instead of separating them and deeming them casting them out.
Yeah.
They're these just crazy people, and that's it,
And too, you never know when something can happen to you or an event can happen that triggers some kind of trauma or something. You never know when you can be put in that kind of situation. Yeah. Or when you start facing yourself with mental health issues. It's so common, especially becoming adults.
Yeah.
So common. Anxiety, everyone has it.
For sure.
You're not cool if you don't have anxiety.
Kids have it.
I'm just kidding.
You're not cool if you don't have it. You're not part of the club.
I know. Screw you if you don't have anxiety.
We're hating. We wish we didn't have anxiety.
Yeah, no, serious. It's it's hard not to have anxiety in a world that we live in.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to stress about. I mean, most people stress about financial shit. I feel like that's a number one thing, and then...
Girl, I had a breakdown the other day about my financial shit.
Really?
And I'm like,
what
get it together.
Right.
Get it
Save.
But it's true, and it's hard because a lot of people keep that bottled in.
Right.
And they try to deal with it on their own because they don't want to have that stigma of, I'm crazy.
Right.
Or I can't keep it together. Or I, don't have my shit together.
Yeah, some people just need someone to talk to or whatever it may be, I guess be that open ear for some people.
And I think it should be important too to try to learn how to be that open person that somebody can talk to.
Yes.
And learn how to do that, because that can get exhausting. So, the task of the week is pretty much we want to remind you guys that you never know what people are going through. So, we want all of us to be kind and take care of your mind.
Yes, sir.
Because it's important.
Yes. So take that away with you from this episode. Be kind and take care of your mind. I love it.
I know. That should be our quote on our Instagram thing.
Yeah,
that
for
should
sure.
Just be it.
Yeah.
Be kind, take care.
So if you're listening to this, that's probably your post.
Yeah. Spoiler
One of
alert.
So, for our sticky situations in this topic, we want to talk about the stigmas that minorities have when it comes to races. We know that majority, I believe, of people that have mental illness are white, but Latinos and Black people also have, obviously, of course, they're going to have some mental illness issues as well.
Yeah. And it could be that the percentage of white people that have mental illness is higher because a lot of the times Latinos or people of color, they don't know how to come out.
Right.
There's probably a lot of people of color that are struggling with mental illness that you would just never know about.
Well, like Latinos have this thing where they just like, and I think Black families do too, where it's like, suck it up. You'll be good tomorrow.
Yeah.
Pray on it.
What was it that we read? Oh, you have a case of the nervios.
Nervioso or something like that. Like,
yeah, like your nerves. Like, oh, those are just your nerves.
Right.
Whatever.
You'll be okay. You're just nervous. It's okay. That's your jitters. It'll be all right.
Yeah,
and
they don't
that's not the case. When you got people, nowadays doing crazy stuff, shooting up buildings, shooting innocent people. Come on now. There needs to be something done. Yeah. There needs to be something talked about. You should have that open ear. Family should be there for you when it comes to things like this.
Yeah.
And I feel a lot of Latinos and Blacks don't feel like they can go to their families because they're going to be downed when it comes to subjects like that. And they're not going to be taken seriously. So why even talk about it, So some of the issues to consider with Latinos is lack of information and misunderstanding about mental health. By the way, we got this from NAMI.org, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Yeah. And, okay, so back to our list of things to consider.
Yeah, things to consider, like why Latinos don't come out of their mental illness. Like, don't come out saying that they have any mental illnesses or anything like that. And why it's probably hard for them.
Yes.
To come out about it.
So privacy concerns is one of them. Just, feeling like everyone's going to know about your stuff. Yeah, everyone's going to know, you don't want to feel like a failure in yourself.
And Latinos love to keep shit private.
Latinos also like to talk shit.
Yeah.
And talk a lot of
And that's
bullshit.
why a lot of Latinos rather stay private because they know how
Latinos are.
Other Latinos can talk shit.
I feel like that's the same with Black people too. I feel like we're all just in the minority pool.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's also language barriers. Some people can't speak the language. Some people can't understand what's going on, because of the lack of communication and the language barriers. There's another one, lack of insurance, is a big one. Not everyone has insurance,
Especially, it's probably a lot harder for minorities to get insurance.
For sure.
That shit ain't cheap.
Misdiagnosis. I was reading the same website and they talked about how Blacks and Latinos are more likely to distrust hospitals and professional help just because they've diagnosed people the wrong way, whether it's family members, whatever, and they're not treated as well as other people would be just because of their ethnicity, in the hospital or wherever it is. We have legal status. We were talking about that and talking about how there's people who are in fear of being deported, and they can't get help. Yeah. That's not even a choice. Yeah. Especially nowadays.
That's fucking sad, bro.
So, along with having whatever disorders they have, they also, if they don't already, have anxiety. because
the
of shit like
anxiety
that.
is just rising here, if you can't tell.
We also have natural medicine and home remedies, and faith and spirituality. And let me tell you, Latinos and Black homes have a lot of this.
A lot of faith.
So you feel some type of way, you might have a mental illness, and we'll be like, here's some Vicks.
Right.
Put it on your chest.
Here's some Vicks to say a prayer to Jesucristo, because everything was going to be okay.
And it's just sad. I mean, like, I don't know. It's just crazy because even though the times have changed, you still have the older generations that are stuck in their ways. And they're still not on the same level or page as we are, you know? So, like, I'm sure these next generations coming up might be different, but I'm hoping that it'll be different for, like, our kids and their kids, you know, compared to how it is with, like, our parents. Not that, you know, I personally have had any issues. Well, technically, I'm not medically diagnosed. I might have a lot of issues, but I don't even know, you know? But we know for sure, excuse me, a lot of people have anxiety.
Yeah.
And then, like, I was an avid nail biter. I bit my nails since I was little, super little. And I recently stopped just because I saw my son doing it. And now he has a horrible habit of it. And I'm like, oh my God, like, I passed this on to him and I feel so bad. I think it was him watching me one day, but I do not bite my nails anymore. And it's crazy because now he's just like, and I don't know if it's because of nervousness. It's the nerves. Nervousness or his way of dealing with whatever.
Yeah,
you know, it is.
His coping mechanism.
Right, his coping. So it's like, I'm trying to get him out of that. It's so hard though.
Yeah, I mean, and it's important to, like, look at your habits, your unhealthy habits, like things like that, and, like, dig deep.
Right.
Be like, okay, why am I doing this?
Right.
Why am I...
And it was never a second thought. It was just something I did. Mm-hmm. It was just a bad habit that I had, and that's all it was. Mm-hmm. You know, no one ever went to look into it. I never went to look into it. But I think about it now, and I felt like that was for everything. I would do it without even me noticing till I actually, like, paid attention. I'm like, why is my fingers in my mouth, you know? Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't know. So I think that sometimes people live that way as well. Like, when you have a mental illness, they just learn to cope with it by themselves and deal with it. Yeah. So, like, it's just messed up. Yeah. They shouldn't have to. There's tons of things to be able to reach out to and to be able to, well, now there are, you know. Yeah. Back then, that wasn't really
and anything. When you're lacking the education around behind it, and when you're lacking, like, the money, like, if you don't have the insurance to do it, that's when you pick up these bad, like, we learned, you know, a coping mechanism might be drinking and doing drugs. Mm-hmm. And that might just be your way of, like, dealing with what's going on in your head. And in turn, all that shit can, like, cause more mental illness to you. Right. It can get worse for you. I've heard how we were talking, how I hear people that, like, smoke weed and it gives them anxiety. Right. After a while, it started to give them anxiety. Mm-hmm. I don't know the facts and, like, this, like, you know, I don't know anything about that. But, like, maybe they had anxiety going in it before they were smoking weed. And it's just, like, resurfacing. I don't get it.
I knew someone, and I had a conversation with someone who told me they get really anxious and paranoid when it comes to doing that. Mm-hmm. And it just does not sit with them well. And I couldn't understand because I'm like, shit, that doesn't happen to me. But, you know, I never thought of it that way, that it does happen to other people. I know not everyone can handle, you know.
Yeah, or, like, drinking. Not a lot of people can handle a lot of drinking. Mm-hmm. They get sick, or they get belligerent, or they get crazy. So, what I wanted to talk about, too... Oh, I want to have, like, a little nice moment of part of the podcast.
I like your little soft voice.
My late night radio voice. A little nice moment part of the podcast. If you're ever feeling a lot of anxiety or a lot of, if everything's just getting a little too much, we found some calming thoughts that you can put into your head that'll bring you back into a more peaceful place. One of them is, think about some unicorns roasting marshmallows with their horn.
So peaceful.
That's a nice thought. Think about Mr. Rogers putting on his shoes. That's lovely. Think about Daddy Penguins. Because who does not love Daddy Penguins? Every day's Father's Day in Penguin World.
Daddy Penguin.
Think of A warm and cozy sleeping bag. Or you can think of Jell-O. It's impossible to feel anxious while imagining Jell-O.
And I imagine a moving back and forth.
Moving. It's like nice and cold in the fridge. You're like, yes.
And I don't know why. Done. What color are you thinking of?
Green.
Oh, really? I was thinking blue. Oh. That's so funny. It's funny how you get these images in your head. Yeah. Hilarious. Those would really help you, though.
Yeah.
I think they would.
This one says, a seahorse swaying in the current, wearing a tiny bow tie. That was nice. With like a nice wind in the air.
I'm thinking about that bow tie. Que lindo. You look so cute.
So yeah, there you go. That's what I wanted to really make sure we put into this episode.
So I had looked up, like, I was curious to know because, you know, I knew about mental health. I've heard about it. You know, I've learned about the basic disorders, depression, bipolar. But I went and researched and looked to see what other types of mental disorders, you know, there are. And there was ADHD. Of course, I think there's ADD too. Mm-hmm. We have anxiety, of course, our favorite. Bipolar. There's borderline personality disorder. Depression. Dissociative disorders. Early psychosis or psychosis. Eating disorders. OCD. PTSD. Schizophrenia. And one that I found very surprising, autism. I'm still, like, in awe of that. I thought that, like, I never knew that was a mental disorder.
Yeah, well, like, there's something
something in your brain that's
like,
that makes
programmed a different way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, which makes sense. But to group it all together with some of these is kind of like, whoa.
Yeah. To touch base on, like, the eating disorder one, I looked up some facts, and I think eating disorders need to be more looked on.
Yeah, for sure.
Because when you're thinking of, like, okay, you're addicted to a drug, let's say you're an alcoholic.
Right.
To quit, you just quit the alcohol. It's going to be hard. You're going to, it's going to be rough, but you don't have to have the alcohol in your system to survive. With eating, you need food to survive.
Right.
So if you're either eating too much of it, if you're not eating any of it, if you're making yourself, like, you still need it. It's something still hard to quit. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you, but
no, you're good.
I had seen a movie, and it's called, I believe, To the Bone, and it's about a girl. It's so good. Like, I looked at it, and I was like, oh, my God, we're so quick to be like, that girl's so skinny, that girl's so fat, but you don't know what they're going through.
Yeah.
That girl might have an eating disorder, but in the movie, the girl copes with it, and it's such a bad, not even a bad habit. She's so, what's the word? Like,
wrapped up in it?
Wrapped up in the disorder. Like, she doesn't even see it as, she just wants to be skinny. She'll do anything to be skinny. Counting your calories, doing the extra. Eating a raisin a day, stuff like that. Oh, like, gosh. Drinking water, but, like, you're doing the bare minimum to survive. But you're losing weight in the process. You know what I'm saying? And it was crazy to see that. But she goes to a home that eventually helps her. Spoiler alert. But it's still a good movie to watch. And in the home, there's tons of kids who are dealing with disorders. And one of the girls is big, too. So, like, it's just, it's very refreshing. Like, because you see such a different view of, someone with that type of disorder. Mm-hmm. It should be recognized more often, though.
Yeah, and it's sad because we live in a society that tells us that we pretty much have to be perfect. Right. We have to look perfect. Especially for females. Yeah. We are put up at a very high standard that not a lot of women can, not even models look like what they think what we think they look like. Right. Like, we're put at such a high standard, and when we're failing at that, it's so easy for us to get, like, to push ourselves down and to be hard on ourselves.
To get sucked in that.
This thing says about half of all women are unhappy with their body, and I believe that shit. Yeah. And that can cause a lot of shit going on in your head, like
that could cause you to have insecurity, to lead to depression, to who knows,
It says binge eating is the most common disorder and affects 1 to 2 million Americans. I believe that shit too. Binge eating, like when you're stressed or when you don't know what to do with yourself, you just like eat.
Yeah, or you're just bored. And you know what? And then some people grow up in a household where that's normal. You know what I'm saying? And then some people grow up in households where you're lecturing on what you eat, and you're making sure, like, you know, your parents, because there's some moms I know out there who are like, you shouldn't be eating that, you shouldn't be doing that, if you want to stay thin, if you want to have this body, that, you know, they do that too. That's an issue. Just like it's an issue to, like, feed your kids a certain way that's not healthy, or, you know, like, I mean, it's an issue.
Yeah.
And a lot of people wouldn't like to hear that, but it's an issue.
Yeah.
It's an issue. Another thing we found out, which is, I mean, kind of not basic, but it's pretty common sense. If you use drugs, if you abuse drugs or alcohol, these disorders are more likely to happen. You said it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I did. Did I? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But yeah.
I said it again.
Yeah.
She did.
It's going to cause all that other, it's going to cause mental illness if you, like, abuse any recreational stuff, like drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. And another thing I wanted to touch base on too, I think it's important to know that, or to have the mindset that if you're, you know, if you go to the doctor because, like, your knee hurts, or if the doctor tells you you have heart problems or something like that, you're going to do everything you can to, like, make sure that that's okay. So I think it's important to start normalizing, like, if the doctor tells you something's wrong with your brain, the same way that you would treat any other part of your body, you need to treat it. It's important. Don't worry about if you seem crazy, or if you don't want to, like, have that stigma on you. It's important. And the same way you go to the gym to exercise your muscles and to strengthen your muscles and all that, your brain is a muscle. And you need to strengthen it. You need to do things that are going to so you could keep living a healthy life up there. Because it's easy for that to fail. Just like any other part of your body. Yes. Your whole, like, your body's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect. You can't just expect your brain to be perfect your whole entire life. You can't.
Just like if you don't take care of yourself, you're gonna die quicker. You know, like, and the same thing with mental illness. Like the later you, and not everything leads to suicide or anything like that, but you know.
But it could, and you never know.
Yeah.
This thing says suicide is the 10th leading cause of of death in the U.S. That's
insane.
That's crazy. That people would rather just kill themselves than work out what's going on in their head and everything like that.
I had well, Dolly knows, but you guys, I had a friend, I believe in 2003, that committed suicide, and he had a 2-year-old daughter. I legit saw him like a couple of days before he had did it, so it was more, I don't want to say it was more of an impact on me, but it really made me feel some way, because I had just seen him. Yeah. And he was so good at hiding it. Like, he had his issues, but he was very good at hiding that he had problems. Very few people knew. And it was heartbreaking that he did that to himself. It was disappointing. I also had a friend who recently just passed away, and he passed away because of drugs. And he had OD'd. And again, I was so sad. It was just disappointing because these people were so young and they had such a life to live, and they just took other ways because they didn't get help. You know, they didn't get the help they needed, whether it was the ear that they needed, the support they needed, whatever. You know, and it is heartbreaking when you deal with it. And I know a lot of people have dealt with that. A friend who's OD'd, or, you know, a family member who's died, or family member who's been killed, you know, or someone who's committed suicide. So it's like,
that's when, like, it comes into play. Like, you never know what's going on in people's lives.
Yeah. Like,
be kind, take care of your mind.
For sure.
It's so true.
Keep that in mind. Keep that in your mind.
Yeah. Be kind, take care of your mind. You're one of a kind.
Don't be blind. Just so you know, me and Dolly are going to become some MCs soon.
Yeah, stay tuned.
We're on the way.
Maybe that should be on our Patreon.
We're going to come up with bonus songs.
It's going to be great. But yeah, we do have to wrap it up because we're running out of time.
We're running out of time. So Oh, well, if you feel like you need to help somebody and you don't know how to help anyone, just do your research. Make sure to hear them out. Make sure to take time to talk about their well-being, talk about them, have them talk to you about whatever it is, whether it's little or not. If you feel like you are on the verge of hurting yourself or hurting someone else, you can call the Suicide Prevention Hotline. Get some help. It's a lifeline. It's 1-800-273-8255. Call 911 if you feel like you're going to hurt somebody or yourself, or go to a hospital ER.
Yeah.
You are not alone. Don't feel like you are. Get help, even if it's just to DM us.
Yeah.
We love you enough. You deserve to live.
We're here to talk.
You're a beautiful person.
Yeah. Be kind. Take care of your mind.
Well, we'll see you guys later.
Yeah. Please
It's been a
don't
great
forget.
episode.
Please don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe.